move on to Sleeper Spotlight.
Sleeper Spotlight, man.
Yeah. It was a fun one to look at people from the internet, people y'all are sleeping on. And then we'll get some opinions, impressions, and constructive criticism, if any, from Adam. Let's see how much stuff he can talk shit about you about.
Exactly.
Cool. First up is Farat Kokomon. Hope I'm pronouncing that right.
All right.
KCMN Farat on Instagram. Only has 1,200 followers.
1,200. All right.
Yeah. So we'll click on Farat.
Farat, let's go. Video number 1. Cool. Really cool, like funk comping sort of groove, you know. I love his wrist. His left wrist looks so clean, man. Really dialed in technique, playing from the wrist. It's such a good example of like what it's like to eliminate your elbow from the equation, which is something a lot of drummers have to spend years working on, right? Getting your elbows out of the mix, no pun intended, you know, getting your elbows out of the physical motion and just using wrist. So I loved his left hand wrist technique. Really good example of what it looks like to have your left hand dialed in that way, and to still have a really busy groove with a lot of dynamics, a lot of textures. And, you know, plenty busy too, right? That sort of funk comping groove will keep your left hand moving a lot. So that was really clean. And I love rack tom, like smaller rack tom, the rim sound. It's a really like underused voice on the kit. A lot of, I swear that there's times when I'm recording a loop and I'll accidentally like hit the rim and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I forgot about how dope that sounds. Like, maybe I could actually use the rim to play something. You know, sometimes I do. Also, on my signature snare, the Entity, the wooden rim has a really cool sound. So I like that style a lot. But that was clean, man. Beautiful technique, beautiful playing.
Cool.
Awesome.
Another clip from Farat there.
Another from Farat. Here we go. Is he playing backwards? Or is the video backwards?
The video's
flipped. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So I'm way more. Oof. Man, what a puzzle that is.
Yeah, tricky stuff.
Yeah. See, we had a drummer on Sleeper Spotlight a few episodes ago. Very similar, right? Where we talked about like these puzzles that you can start creating. It's a very specific way to practice, but there's a lot of cool stuff that you can figure out too. I'll tell you another moment of this video that I loved was the absolute baseball bat swing of the crash that happened, you know? There's like a certain level of commitment that you have to have. And it's funny because I know what it's like to work on these puzzles like this that he's building, right? Where I don't know, there's just like a rhythmic challenge between your hands and your feet, like, or there's an ostinato happening, and you know, and you're anticipating a certain moment where it resets or the one is coming, and you're like, I'm holding on, right here. You just like smash on the downbeat of one. There's a certain level of confidence that you have to have, but it was funny because you can see it in his body language of like, it's coming right here, and then he just smashes it. I know exactly what that feels like, but man, that was really clean. High level of independence, and it takes you have to go really, really deep, man, in order to work those puzzles out. It just requires hours of just, you know, intense concentration to work that out, and he played very, very clean. Awesome. That was a killer one, man. Everybody go check out Brother Farat.
Yes.
All right. Who we got next?
Next up is Jack Jones.
Jack Jones?
Not the Jack Jones, but another Jack Jones.
Okay.
Has about 6,200 followers on Instagram.
All right.
At JDrums42 on Instagram.
Cool.
And got a few videos from him.
All right. First video from Jack Jones. man. So first of all, I'm getting strong. Maybe it's just it's Ash Zone vibes, right? Reminds me of him quite a bit. Something about the like lower hands, like plays from the wrist more than most people do, right? Like there's the elbows are like, what's the way to say it? Like it's more of an obtuse angle. Like he keeps his hands very low and gets the stick height like purely from the wrist. Doesn't use his elbow like in any way. Yeah, so I don't know, really unique like technique to this guy's playing, but also like a very hard style to describe because I heard some vintage mannerisms, like some old school kind of licks. But also he's doing some like more uncommon stuff, like really fast diddles up on the toms. But his toms are tuned kind of high, so you can do that when you have a like, you know, it's almost like a jazz tuning on the kit, right? Like the toms do sound very high. But man, he had a couple of like speedy bursts in there that are really indicative of his overall skill level. Like the guy can absolutely shred. Really interesting. He's also got one of the best drum books you could ever buy on a music stand behind there called Future Sounds by David Garibaldi. I own that book. It's the kind of book where like you crack it open and you read the first 2 measures of page 1 and I'll see you in 2 months. Like, I mean, it's like that difficult of a book, right? I mean, there's so many just gems in there, grooves and fills, linear stuff. Yeah, it's a fantastic book, which I imagine he's worked through quite a bit. Man, interesting player and very interesting sound for sure. I think I need to watch the second one here just to get like a grasp on his style. It was so eclectic and strange.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, second one here from Jack. Man, it's such a unique style, right? Definitely something in the technique realm that reminds me of Ash Zone. Like, I don't know, like a loose wrist thing. I'm having a hard time describing it, but something reminds me of like technique-wise about that. Yeah. It's also weird though because his style and his kit sound there's like a contrast there. Yeah. Like the kit sounds like it's tuned like how Mark Juliana would tune a kit.
Yeah, or like a JoJo Mayer kind of tuning.
JoJo Mayer tuning, or like Eric Harland. Like it sounds like a little more like purist jazz tuning, like very high toms, but his playing isn't like that. You can hear that future sound influence here, right? A lot of that linear funk comping sort of stuff. Man, but see, I love this because it's easier for me. Well, I don't want to say easier, but like there's more to talk about in a drummer like this because the styles are like all over the place, or rather his influences clearly come from a variety of different places. So this to me is like a very interesting drummer, right? Because it's hard to put him in a box where it's like, well, is he a rock drummer or a funk drummer or a jazz? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like he's a confusing person, right? I don't want to say confusing person, but like just a more eclectic drummer. There's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. So for me, these are some of the more interesting ones for sure. Because I bet we could go through his whole Instagram and find a lot of different skill sets that he has.
It was very entertaining to go through his Instagram. Yeah. It was awesome. Everything seemed very different and new, and it was very, rewarding to find his Instagram. I think it was suggested by someone who is a listener. So he sent me an email for his Instagram.
Yeah.
And I love it. He's great.
Yeah, this is a killer one, man. It's a killer. Because let's be honest, you can go through Instagram all day and see a lot of the same thing. And if not the same thing, then a lot of people, trying to do the same thing, where here's the chop video, here's the groove video, here's the drum cover, here. But to see somebody that has a style that is like so deeply unique like that, it is really hard to find people like that. So yeah, I'm impressed, man. This was very, very cool stuff from Brother Jack. Awesome, man. Couple of great sleepers. Go check out Jack and Farat, guys. Do it.
Yeah. And if you've got any suggestions for sleepers that you see on the internet that we're missing, shoot me an email at chris@orlandodrummer.com.
Thank you so much for watching this clip from the Orlando Drummer Podcast. If you're looking for more content like this, you are formally invited to come join me on orlandodrummer.com. It's an online education platform, very much in the style of Netflix, and there you'll find over 160 hours of content waiting for you, ranging from in-depth lesson packs to audio and video masterclasses and everything in between. I'd love to have you on board. We'll see you guys there.